The right to vote is the most important right granted to a U.S. citizen. It's not only a right, but a privilege and a duty as a citizen of our country and a member of your community. You may think your vote does not matter, but it does. As candidates work hard to try to win you over and get your vote, it's important for you to know all the ins and outs about casting your vote for this year's 2016 general election. After all, some things go better if you get prepared. On November 8, Americans are going to the polls to vote for president. But that's not the only important issue at stake. Nearly every state legislature is up for election, and critical ballot measures will make a big difference in people's daily lives.
It's important for all citizens to vote. That's how they get their voices heard. It's important to make a choice, and this is one way to make that choice heard. So we always encourage voters to cast a ballot, at least so they can actually say they've had something said.
You may have already registered to vote and are waiting for your mail ballot to arrive, or are ready to head to the polls on Election Day. If you haven't registered to vote, it's not too late to make your vote count.
So the deadlines in Colorado are very different than all other states. We're very fortunate you can actually register to vote the day of the election. We actually encourage people to register to vote 22 days before the election so they can receive their mail ballot in the mail. There are several ways you can register to vote. In Colorado, new this year, you can text and register to vote through your own mobile smartphone. You can also register to vote online at City Hall, at any of the Arapahoe County branches, and on Election Day, there will be 23 voting service centers that you can go and register to vote as well. So in Colorado, you need to bring your driver's license. You can also use the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. But if you go to any of the voting service centers to register, you can actually take other forms of ID, such as a pilot license, a cable bill, anything that's utility-wise, or any type of government-issued document to register to vote. What you need to do to update your registration, if you just need to change your address, you can do that at the Secretary of State's website or arapahoevotes.com. It takes you to the same place. You can also just bring any other current document if you move to show a current address and where you reside. You know, it's always nice to make sure that you know where you need to go and when you're going to get your ballot. If you confirm online through the Secretary's website, you could find out where your voting service center is if you prefer to go and vote there, if you don't want to do by mail ballot.
Before you vote, it's important to do your research to ensure you have all the information so you are well informed. After all, an informed citizenry is the cornerstone of a democracy.
This election is called the general election. It's held every 4 years. This is the election in which the states get to vote for presidential as well as legislative matters and other questions. On this ballot in November, it's going to be a very lengthy ballot. There is going to be at least 9 issues or ballot questions, as well as the presidential candidates and some other legislative candidates that are available for them to vote on. Some will actually vote in what's called special district elections. School districts will actually have some questions, as well as the election of retaining judges. Greenwood Village does not have any local ballot questions this year, so there are many resources available for voters to be prepared before they vote their mail ballot. There's one that's called the Blue Book, it's a state book that's put together that's mailed to every household in Colorado, so you can actually view the questions. It has an in-depth analysis to what could happen with those questions. You can also go online to arapahoevotes.com. That actually has a link to the candidate bios, and you could go to the Colorado Legislative website, and they actually have a link to all of the judges and their retention, so you can seek information to be informed before casting a ballot. A sample ballot is available on arapahoevotes.com. There is a nice little cheat sheet that you can pull out of your Blue Book from the state of Colorado that actually gives you an opportunity to go in and prepare that you could take with you to the vote center if you wanted to vote. That actually will help expedite you through the process because you can review the information and cast a sample ballot. You can also sit down at your table with your mail ballot, take all of the resources you have available, study and place your ballot back in its envelope and have it mailed back to Arapahoe County, or you can drop it off at one of the locations. So the ballots are preparing to be mailed out to residents October 17th. You can start going to the voting service centers on October 23rd if you don't want to cast a mail ballot. Arapahoe County Arapahoe Votes has a link that you can go and sign up for what's called Track It. Under the ballots, you can track when you get your ballot mailed to you, when you return it, and it's received by the county.
Election day is fast approaching. If you haven't voted early or by absentee ballot, you will be voting in person. Confirm your polling place and plan ahead to avoid the last-minute rush.
So on Arapahoe County website or to the Secretary of State's website, if you go in to elections, you can actually check your voter registration. In doing so, it also will provide you all the information, all the candidates, the districts in which you reside in, and your nearest voting service center, so you can actually know who you can vote for. So we're very fortunate in Colorado. Everyone who's actively registered will get a mail ballot. If you choose to, you can take your mail ballot and take it to the vote service centers and you can vote there. Usually there are no long lines. Not very many people these days are voting at voter service centers. However, it's a choice. And if you choose to go there, there's a way to monitor the wait lines on Arapahoe Votes. They instituted a new program where if you log in, you get to see what the wait times are going to be. Greenwood Village City Hall here at 6060 South Quebec Street is serving as a voter service center for this election beginning November 5th. That means we'll actually be open on Saturday as well. This allows you to come and vote in person on one of the devices to cast your ballot for this year's election. Our hours are based on what's statutorily required. It starts on November 5th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on election night. So I encourage Greenwood Village residents to be prepared when they go to the voting service centers, to bring their ID, to work with the poll workers to ensure that they get the correct ballot, to have your cheat sheet that's provided to you by the Blue Book so you can go into the voting centers to cast your ballot quickly and efficiently. It's very important for all citizens to get out and vote. Voting is a very important right here in the United States. We're very fortunate in Colorado that we have a very active voting residents. I encourage everyone to get out and cast their ballots and let their voices be heard.